Spoiler season. We've got so many cards. There's too many cards. There's literally too many cards.
There actually are too many cards. There's too many cards for a single episode of The Winning Point.
There's too many cards for episode 26 of The Winning Point. We're here. We're back in our respective locations. I'm all the way in Scotland, and I'm Blevins. That's Casanova. That is Charmer. Neither of them are in Scotland, but we're all here for the episode. Welcome back. Well, I guess I say welcome back, but we're much further away than we were just last weekend. That was great. And if you were living under a rock and didn't know where we were last weekend, it was SCG Con Vegas. We were all there. We were all casting. Huge production, et cetera, et cetera. Check it out right on this very channel, or if you're listening on Spotify, on the Turn 'Em Sideways YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's not even last week anymore. We skipped a week. We had an additional weekend in between. It's been a full,
what day is it?
It's been a full 8 days since we were there as of recording this episode.
That can't possibly be true.
And I got like a delayed illness coming out of Vegas. I'm recovering from being a little bit sick. That just like didn't really come up until the last few days. I was fine when I got back, but
con crud it'll do it to you.
So just kind of recovering now. But I'm excited. I haven't even really, like, it's crazy. Most spoiler seasons, like, I'm just so on top of it, looking at everything all the time, constantly following every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in bed for 2 days, so I haven't seen a lot of this stuff, and I'm looking forward to yapping about it.
Yeah, I am also very much looking forward to yapping about it, because I apparently just lost multiple days of time in my brain. It turns out international travel will evaporate days from your life, and you'll just have no idea what day or time it is. So that's
where we are. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah. All right. What's our first topic then? What are we jumping into? Is it just spoilers? We gotta do like SCG breakdown, that kind of thing.
I feel like we should do a little like a mini story time. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's definitely not on the sheet, but why not just rip it?
I'll start with a story, because this happens at every event I go to, which is I go and I have a fantastic time, a wonderful time. This time it was exacerbated by the fact that I realized the last time that me and Cass and Blevins were at the same event together was like a Tales of Aria calling, I think in Cincinnati years ago. And then I came home and the same thing that always happens hit, which was like the post-event depression. And I realized that we have to run it back sooner rather than later, gentlemen, because I don't know what it is. There's the part of me that just doesn't want it to end, but there's also this like weird thing that happens. And I don't know if it happens to you guys, but I do an event and I'm fine in the moment. And then afterwards I think about like all of the mistakes I made during casting or things like that. And then I'm just like, yeah, I'm not good at this. I'm just going to quit and never do this again. I don't need to play games. And then obviously I snap out of it, but I do it like literally every time.
I don't think I have this extreme, Charmer, but I do reflect on what I could do better and try and improve from there. But like, I think I do have at this point at least some confidence in my ability in this field, that I hope that I'm doing a good enough job. But I do recognize all the mistakes that I make, and I want to do even better next chance I get to cast. So obviously we want to do more of this. It was so much fun. The support from everybody was so cool. Never expected the amount of viewership, the amount of interaction, the people in chat. It was incredible. People coming up to us at the event. Shout outs to everybody who came up and told us that you love The Winning Point. I hope you're listening now. It was great to meet you all. I'm really, it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, shout outs to Mikey, who brought us over all of the cards we asked about, and even the newly added that we didn't specifically ask about, but the Arby's manager, Ravenbloom student. We signed them all. It was amazing. We had a charm for Charmer, treasure trove for Cass, an Angie rune for me, and then we had the Arby's manager, Ravenbloom student. So that was amazing. We also had an impromptu mailbag, which was, do you guys know that there are comments on Spotify? Which we just didn't.
We just didn't know. So now we'll have to check those for mailbags in the future. Sorry, audio listeners, wondering why your questions never got answered. Well, it's because we didn't know they were there. So we'll look now.
Okay, I'm right here. Just say.
No, I was playing this free-for-all game, and I've got like just one unit, and some a-hole, I'm not going to say names, decided to just kill my only unit. It hadn't even been around like a full time yet. Like it didn't even get a full turn. I shot Charmer's
Poro with a super mega death rocket on my second turn of the game after he played the Poro. I shot a death rocket at his Poro and I killed it. And then he had no units all game and he just had a handful of, I don't know, nothing. Didn't do any. I just killed his Poro. I just wanted it in my discard pile. I just wanted the thing in the discard pile.
That's killed it dead.
I just killed the Poro. I killed it. I did it. I shot the Poro. It was me. And I'll do it again. I'll do it again. I'll shoot your Poro every time, Charmer. Every single time we play, I will super mega death rocket your Poro as soon as I draw it. Every single time.
To bring it back around on a happier note, I got to see a lot of people that we've all known for a long time from the LOR community and other places. I of course don't have one on hand, but I've been handing out the little Riot fist bump card back sleeves that I had made a while ago to all the OG LOR people. Saw Mo, Ikado, Shoutout, Nola, like a million people. I'm going to forget people. Ruben, I somehow had not met Ruben Zoo in person yet. So that was saw a lot of people, a lot of people that I've air quotes known on the internet for a long time. Finally got to meet him in person. And yeah, just the whole weekend was amazing. I did get the post-con depression. I don't have the spiral like Charmer does of like, there we go. There's the sleeve. Yes. The Riot fist bump card back from LOR. I had them made a while ago and I just, I use them for my runes for most of my decks, but I have a bunch of extra ones that I can hand out to LOR folks. So cool stuff there. But yeah, I don't have the downward I don't have the reflective period, Charmer, because I don't remember anything that I did, and I'm sure that I did enough stuff wrong that someone will tell me, right?
Well,
anyway,
I'll just say this. It's like I have a shred of serotonin and somebody hits it with a super mega death rocket and then I draw no more serotonin for the rest of the game.
And I'll do it again.
Well, you said, Charmer, that you want to run back some events, but the next event that's coming up that I believe, and Cassie, you should probably take this over because I am not going to be there. I have no idea what's going on and what we are or aren't doing, but Houston is coming up soon. And I believe there's going to be some Term Sideways presence there, Cass.
Yeah, I mean, Charmer and I will be there. Liam will be there trying to film some. Liam is one of our production people, is going to be there trying to film some cool stories following some players in the tournament. I think it's a project we're trying to do. I actually don't want to make any promises on this project. It's actually it's a very large undertaking that we want to attempt, and it's going to be our first time trying it. And so I'm just going to say it is possible that it just doesn't work out. So I'm not going to promise this content, but if it does happen, I think it's something that people should be really excited for. And I believe in Liam, and I think we got a really cool idea for following some stories at the Houston Regional. And I think that'll be sweet. It's the first regional in the West, or not regional, regional qualifier in the West.
RQ,
and it's going to be massive. I mean, this is the first time you can get the best of prizing, and in fact, the only time in Origins for these best of prizings. The prize pool itself is quite large, right? First place getting $6,000 with the champion prize card, the playmat, all that. I mean, there is a lot on the line for this tournament, and it's a big thing where, like, we talked about Vegas and we talked about, CCS and how it's like the first one, and nobody ever really kind of forgets the first one. Well, this is like the real first one. This is the this is the right official first one. Like, I think we'll remember kind of the top 8 of Vegas, but I also think that the split in top 4 is going to maybe reduce that impact on like, hey, there was a champion. I think people will remember the set list from CCS for sure as being like, wow, set won that. But like, this is going to have a victor at the very end. Not the legend, but the person who won the tournament.
That's probably not a prediction.
Yeah, probably not.
There will be a victor.
Probably not the legend victor, but a person, either named Victor or just the winner of the tournament. You know, one of the two or both. But there is going to be a lot of impact with that win and the like. Yeah. The everything that comes with it. You know, the prestige of being that first player. The like, the notoriety that you'll get. I think people often remember that very first tournament and who won. And while this isn't like a regional or worlds, and it is just a regional qualifier, considering how many of them there seem to be like once every few months or so, like I think these will have pretty high impact.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you said there. It is definitely going to it really is. You know, I like to have our mantle of SCG Con Vegas was the first big event in the West. It technically was, but I mean, this is going to take over. I think people are definitely going to remember this a bit more. And you mentioned SCG Con Vegas and CCS. If you want to get a little bit more of a battlefield breakdown of those events, you can check out the channel right now. The episode is up. I finally got back to making another episode of Battlefield Breakdown where I went over both of those events, the deck lists, some notable stuff there. So we won't go too deep into the actual events themselves, but you can check that out right here on the Turn 'em Sideways YouTube channel that is out. As you are listening to this right now, it is already out. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, just a little sliver, a little preview there. The meta has definitely shaken up since the Chinese regional events, the Chinese minors or majors. I don't know what we're calling
the National Open in Shanghai.
The National Opens, yeah. Don't have a direct equivalent in the West, but the meta was very what many people would call stagnant. Of it's Yi or Kai'Sa, or rather, it's just kind of Kai'Sa, and it did change week to week. Like we saw, Cass, you were obviously like in the trenches there more so than any other person that wasn't actually at the event or the events, but it changed a lot, but it changed within a small set of parameters.
I think the biggest thing that we see so far in the West is Yi is a lot less popular. And because of that, you're seeing like Annie and Set rise up a lot. And whether that will be adjusted at all for Houston with an increase of Yi, or if Yi continues to fall, I think we'll see even more prevalence of Annie, specifically being like a really, really solid choice. And I think a lot of that ends up hurting Aurora, as you can see in the thumbnail here. I think people just catching up to the fact that Aurora is like a very beatable strategy, either with the sideboard tech or just like being a faster list that's able to score very quickly. Annie, Kai'Sa, those are kind of decks that can do it. Set even can kind of push and get there pretty quickly as well, and he gets to run like Sabotage and Salvage if he wants. So a lot of ways to kind of just deal with it. So I think we've seen some of these cool meta shifts. I'm very curious to see the Yi representation, because that was just so popular in China. Gate kept some decks that had pretty reasonable Kai'Sa matchups, but they didn't have good Yi matchups. And now if the representation is like 15% Yi instead of 20 to 24% Yi, I think it really opens the door for a lot of the success that we've been seeing. And I think this Annie deck is really, really strong. It was something that was talked about in China. People said, hey, Annie might be, one of the best decks in the game. It might be one of the best. It might be one of the best going into Shanghai. And then it just didn't do it, right? People brought the deck. It just didn't get it done. But that there's so many different factors that could cause that. And I think it's really cool that we're getting to see a little bit more diversity in our top 8s. And I hope that continues at Houston. I think that makes a much more exciting tournament when we got all these different legends popping up there.
I will say one of the things that I was kind of thinking about when we saw the lower than normal representation from Yi at SCG Las Vegas, for example, I thought, well, maybe it's a availability issue, right? It's no secret that Proving Grounds has been very hard to get a hold of here in North America. But that doesn't account for the fact that we also had such an uptick in Annie, and we need Proving Grounds. For that
I was about to say,
I don't know. I will say Annie is incredibly fast. It is definitely the kind of standard aggro deck. When you think about aggro decks from other card games, you're usually trying to punish decks that have poor draws, right? And I think that Annie may be better than any other deck right now, has the ability to do that because it's going to be consistent. It's going to have explosive starts. And the reality is with the right tech, it actually can finish strong as well. And so looking at what we have here on the screen, I love the inclusions of cards like Rebuke, just because it is such a good tempo card. Yes, high power cost, but low energy cost, gets rid of something big, allows you to still get in and possibly get that, double score finish, or, if you want to do something cheeky with, you go over the top with Vi and then you bounce something else and then just send in a smaller unit like a Burrower or whatever. I also love the Ride the Wind combo. I love the fact that just Ride the Wind in general, even if it's not the combo with Vi, can allow you to surprise your opponent by winning on their turn if they're not paying attention to their sequencing. So there is also, this bit where, yes, it didn't perform as well as maybe it was hyped up to in the Chinese events. However, it's also not necessarily the easiest deck to pilot, right? Because it does care about sequencing and timing and things like that. And I think that maybe now more folks are just getting more and more reps on it as well.
Yeah. Annie was the deck that I played. I've actually played the most now, especially in person. So I got a lot of reps on it. I'm absolutely not an expert on it. You can check out players like Sold Out. I know Mo was playing it at SCG Con. There's a lot of other really good players out there. But there are some things that like you said, the sequencing really matters, and using knowing when to use your flashes, knowing when to use your fight or flights offensively versus defensively. The little nuances really matter, but at its core, you're going 2, 4, 6, 8. And really you're going 2, 4, 6 because the 8 is just the Divide the Wind. Like if you can get to that point and not be if you can get to that point, it almost doesn't matter what amount of might your opponent has. It's just if they have like a hidden blade or something. That's really the only thing that goes around it. It's the big reason that like she can kind of contend with Kaisa, right? Is because Kaisa has no answer to buy red win, so Kaisa has to beat you before 6. Can't beat you after that. That's where like Annie can run into some issues like yellow decks, but there's not like a ton of super crazy yellow decks outside of like Set. She has to be careful about the hidden blade, and she has to be careful about the hidden blade from Victor, and then has to be a little careful of like Defy from Yi, because like defying the Ride the Wind is also like another way to stop Annie from winning from there. So there's a few kind of matchups that she has to worry about, but because of the fact that she has like a pretty decent Kaisa matchup overall, and has like some uninteractable setups where she can just kind of win the game and Kaisa can't do anything about it, I think is one of the reasons we're seeing a lot of success there. But yeah. Also, sneaky deckhand, just so good. Deckhand, sick. Okay, we've wasted enough time on these old cards and these old tournaments that have already happened. Let's talk about the stuff that everyone wanted to hear about and to talk about. Let's see some spoilers. We got, like we said, we were not joking when we said there are more spoilers that have happened since last time we recorded than we could possibly talk about in one episode. So we've curated a few here. I think the plan is to eventually we'll do another full. There's another 5-hour video on the horizon. Yeah, exactly. But for now, we've got some selects here, and we're gonna start with oh boy, is purple eating good here. We got Fizz Trickster, 3 energy, 1 purple power for a Fizz Trickster. 3 might. When you play me, you may play a spell from your trash with energy cost no more than 3, ignoring its energy cost. Recycle that spell after you play it. You must still pay its power. So just straight up Snapcaster Mage, kind of small spell Snapcaster Mage for purple there. I mean, this is just a sweet card. Yeah, it just does a lot of cool things, right? Like purple already really like to be the like toolbox class with deck building around like Annie Stubborn, being able to just grab any spell. This obviously casts it immediately, so like it's a different card to Annie Stubborn and what it does. Like Annie Stubborn
you're going to go ahead and grab your Ride the Wind back from the trash so that you can set up your Vi Ride the Wind, right? But Fizz is just like immediately, okay, cool, no more than 3 energy. Well, I can Fizz and grab a Falling Star and play that out of my trash. Will that be high power cost? Yes, but maybe this is a deck that can run seals.
Doesn't matter if your opponent's dead.
And it doesn't matter if all your opponent's board is just getting completely wiped. Even like at the bare minimum, doing something like playing Fizz Trickster and just getting to play a stack deck out of that for free is actually like pretty reasonably good and would be worth playing a Fizz Trickster in that spot potentially. But that's even just like thinking kind of small, right? You play it, you fight or flight something back, you go score if you're an aggro deck, right? There's just like a lot of different things that you get to do. And this is just talking about spells that we kind of already have. And not even, I'm not even like diving so deep and thinking about all the different possibilities. This is just like baseline power level of this card is I get a 3 might body and I just get to also do something else out of my trash for free. And that is a very selective card draw and play that you are getting to do. Yes, it has to cost less than 3, but a lot of great spells cost less than 3.
When I saw this, there were 2 cards that immediately jumped to mind. The first we've already talked about, that's Ride the Wind. If you're doing the Vi Ride the Wind combo, Vi is being activated on your turn anyway, so the fact that Fizz plays it immediately kind of doesn't matter. You just do it in the normal sequence, and this is just like a backup copy of Ride the Wind in case you had to burn one early or whatever. The other thing that jumped out as somebody who loves trying to force Reanimator decks to work and loves playing Rasa is Inverted Timelines. This could potentially be a way to really let you start jamming more stuff into your discard pile, right? Because Inverted is 3 and 1 power. Yes, you have to pay the power, but the idea that you've like cycled somebody's hand, you know, and then cycled it again, but you're also dumping yours and now your Rasas are super cheap is interesting to me. I'll at least play around with it.
For sure. I mean, you can run Morbid Returns in Rasa and then do that like Timelines trigger, and then like if you already have enough stuff in the bin, then you play a Fizz and you Morbid Return the Rasa for free, and then you play the Rasa for free. And that's like a way that you can continue to interact with the graveyard, right? So there's like cool ways to look for that like hand dump Turbo Rasa. Is that a good enough thing to be a strong deck? Who knows? But it is something that you can do, and maybe. It is like it is definitely an interesting effect, and there might be an even more broken like line that comes from that like idea, right? The idea of like, how do we dump everything in here? We Morbid Return the unit that we threw away back, and then we get to play the unit. But maybe there's something even better, and that's like the thinking that you go through.
Yeah, it's also one of those things that whenever I'm evaluating cards, just because I really love the multiplayer in this format, that's the other reason that the timelines thing jumps out at me, right? Because it's hilarious. Just really fun to do and free for all. But again, if you're kind of doing a targeted 2v2 where you're building around whatever you and your teammate are trying to do against your opponents, if your opponents don't have a plan for it and you do, then that's another great way to separate yourself. So
it's also a relatively common card to be made in Magic that is bounce something you control to also bounce something your opponent controls. So like it usually costs about 2 in Magic. So if that was a card, you play that, you can bounce something your opponent controls and bounce your Finn or your Fizz rather back and then play it again. All sorts of shenaniganry and tricks for the Fizz the Trickster.
I love it.
Really exciting card. Also just auto triggers Darius Trifarian if you need, that matters. I'm of course thinking through the lens of Annie, who also got another couple of cards in purple here. We have Hard Bargain, 2 energy spell. It is a reaction that has repeat, which is one of the keyword mechanics in this set that has repeat 2. So you can pay this additional cost to repeat the spell's effect. And it just says counter a spell unless its controller pays 2 energy. So we're seeing our first counter spell in purple, I believe. We're seeing our first sort of conditional counter spell, the condition being whether or not your opponent pays an additional cost. And yeah, seems to be this one actually is, I'm seeing a lot of discourse on Twitter. So a lot of people are saying that this card is broken. A lot of people are saying that this card is not good at all. I'm curious where you two land on it.
I think it's good. I mean, I don't like. I think people maybe like are overselling how good it is, but end of the day, this is a non-power cost, like counterspell, in this game that like. I think most of the time, if you're getting Falling Starred and you hard bargain and you tax 2 resources again from your opponent and you pay it again and you like try and tax forward, they don't have the 4. Like I might pay 4 to counterspell a Falling Star if it's not costing me power. Like I hate windwalling a Falling Star because I don't want to pay 2 power, but I'll hard bargain one. Like I don't feel bad about hard bargaining one. And I think that like this just kind of makes it harder for you to just get completely blown out by some of the big spells. Like Time Warp is going to get countered by this. Like you're not going to be able to have enough energy to pay this cost to stop hard bargain. So if Time Warp decks are good, which we're looking at Renata as maybe a Time Warp abuser. We're looking at Ari still likes Time Warp. I mean, Time Warp's a good card. This beats Time Warp. So at least this is going in your sideboard if Time Warp stays relevant in the meta. And it just has enough targets that it hits, and it's taxes your opponent. Maybe it's even just fine enough, like strong enough as a tempo play, like to just pay 2 to try and counter their spell. And if they pay the 2 back and don't have runes to develop, you're like, cool, all right, like your spell resolves, but like you don't have enough runes to develop what you probably wanted to develop this turn. And that's like good enough. I think it's just like good enough, and it's gonna have some spots where it's incredible and some spots where it's like kind of whatever, but like I'm definitely playing this card. I'm playing this. It's either sideboarded, it's mainboarded in small amounts, and then sideboarded in the rest or something. Like maybe I have 3 copies total in the 48, but like maybe it's like 1 main, 2 side, or 2 main, 1 side, something like I don't know. It's getting played. That card's getting played. I think it'd be crazy for that card to not see any play.
The other parts that I think really jump out to me, I'm glad you touched on Time Warp because that was one of the ones I was going to mention. There's also a lot of just other high-end cards that theoretically there might be enough energy if they have like, you know, the full 12 runes or whatever, but most of the time, especially at the stages when those cards are being played, they don't. So a Cathian Rain jumps out.
Yep.
You know, decks that are running a couple copies of like Unchecked Power, Divine Judgment. There's things that this could potentially hit. And even against decks that, again, the card itself might not be that expensive, but like Hook Darius or Hook Victor, for example, both of them tend to hover around 6 or 7 runes. And so if they go to play Grand Stratagem, the likelihood that they're going to be able to stop this is pretty small. And it's a blowout play when it happens. So I think the card is good. I mean, historically, if you've come from other card games like Magic the Gathering, this is basically mana leak. I think that makes this, again, very comparable. Mana Leak, again, could work on creatures and stuff. So there were some other benefits, but I still think this is
Spell
fine.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Which is also a very good card for what it's worth.
Yeah, still very good card. I will also say one last thing about this. I'm very curious about the timing of the repeat portion and how it resolves as far as like triggers. Like if you pay the repeat, is it still just going to count as one spell? And the reason I bring this up is because if the repeat is almost like a reflexive trigger and they have to do it 2 separate times, this also means that if you pay the repeat, they can't just turn around and defy it, right? So I'm waiting to see what the rulings are for this card, because if this exists as like essentially 2 copies of pay 2 as opposed to 1 copy of pay 4, there are direct impacts as a result of that in terms of your own spell count and in terms of all sorts of stuff. So I think it's good, and I'm very excited to see what the rulings on it are.
Yeah, all of a sudden now it's Flusterstorm, which may be too new of a card for you, Charmer, considering it only came out 10 years ago.
What's that?
I will also point out baseline cost 2 energy. Annie literally always has 2 energy on your opponent's turn. So I'm Annie pilled right now, but
I think those are the conditions where it gets like more able to be played around, but like holding up 4 is also really hard. So like it's just like I don't know. It's gonna be.
I mean, Annie gets access to play this card.
Oh no, I know.
Not that she can pay for it.
Yeah. That's.
Well, I mean, she can also pay for it too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess there is one other thing that I want to point out, which is this doesn't have to stop a big spell to be a blowout. So if you think about existing play patterns, it is very common if you're playing against a Kaisa, for example, where they have, 6 or even 7 energy and they're trying to either stupefy or cleave into a Darius. And if you stop the spell, the Darius doesn't ready. And sometimes that's enough to buy you time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots that can be very good. All right, Blevins, called shot. I responded to this one on Twitter by saying, "Excuse me," because I think this looks really, really strong, especially with gold being out of the game and like just the potential that seals might be good. I'm looking at this as like I draw 2 filter while filtering through like 4 cards. For free. I mean, you're probably paying power at some point, but like for any fast purple deck, even slower purple decks, I think this might be fine. Like I'll pay a power for a card for sure. I think I'm pretty open to that idea in a lot of spots. So especially if you have ways to get around the double power cost to just like draw 2 for the 1 card. I mean, I know like playing the card to just draw 1 card and paying a power is like not good. You should have just played the card that you wanted to draw in the first place. But the filtering, the looks at the top of the deck, when you're trying to play combos, like for instance, you're looking for your Vi Ride the Wind and you want to make sure you find it every game. Now you have stack deck and called shot. You're never missing. So now it's just get to 6, right? Like the game is get to 6 because you're never like I feel like you're not going to ever have a game where you do not find Vi Ride the Wind to have in your hand.
Yeah.
So I think this is just like quite good, and that's just the combo that we talk about now, right? Like there's plenty of combos that could potentially exist in the game going forward. This also adds like more Nocturne ability to play Nocturne aggro decks, where like you already could play the stack deck, and now you get just like 4 more looks for Nocturne on each of these called shots, and then you can play Fizz, and then you just like keep looking. And like, I feel like you're just going to be able to get all those Nocturnes out of your deck relatively consistently. And there's like a purple aggro deck out there that's, I don't know, looking pretty sick with that. So this is a cool idea.
I'm glad you brought up Nocturne. Obviously, I want to try that. He's a pet project of mine. But what I want to point out is both Fizz to some degree, but especially Cold Shot. I love that we are getting ways to incentivize people playing seals. I know that when the game was first announced, we all thought like seals would be good, and then we all thought they were trash, and now we're somewhere in the middle, and now it kind of depends. But Cold Shot, I think, is definitely one of the cards that absolutely, if you're playing Cold Shot, you want to play some number of seals, because not only is it essentially just exhaust a seal to pay for the power if the initial one, as well as potentially more. But if it's a late game scenario between stack deck and cold shot, if you don't want to find those seals, then you can recycle them, right? The filtering is going to allow you to get the best of it when you need it, or potentially send it away, which I really like.
Yeah. Real quickly for Spotify listeners who may not know what called shot is.
Yeah, go for it, Blake. Thanks.
Zero energy, 1 purple power. It's all good. Action speed spell that has repeat for 1. I believe that's
it's
just
purple power.
It is
just
specifically
chaos.
purple.
Yeah.
The repeat is chaos power. Okay. So repeat, you can pay an additional purple power. It says, look at the top 2 cards of your main deck, draw 1 and recycle the other. Couple of things jump out to me. One, it does say draw 1, which sometimes is relevant. There's, cards that key off of drawing. Sometimes an effect like this would just put it into hand. I'm thinking of the card Sleight of Hand from Magic, which is the same effect. It's just 1 mana. Look at the top 2, put 1 in hand, 1 on the bottom. So the fact that it draws could be relevant at some point. I'm not 100% sure how Fizz interacts with additional costs like repeat. Like, do you have the ability to pay the repeat cost if you Fizz it?
So L1 Judge here, I actually don't know for sure, but what I figure will happen is it's similar to Accelerate, where like if you were to play an Accelerate unit off of a hook,
additional cost,
you can then You can then pay the accelerate
you punch
cost.
your mic into
you punch your mic. You can then pay the accelerate cost and have the unit come in ready.
That's what I would also think.
So I think it is going to be the same. And I'll just say that that's how it works. And fight me.
There we go. Last thing I'll mention with the card, because you brought up Rasa Charmer, like you're already at the sort of deck acceleration with all the stack decks and almost any amount of other card draw that you can get through your deck and fill your trash quite effectively. This is just another thing that's just like, yeah, you are now turbo trashing right now. You're getting the card in, you're picking up your Rasas. Like you may be able to get Rasas out a lot faster than we're used to right now. So that's an interesting gambit. But speaking of interesting, and I'll just say it now, janky combos that may actually end up being good. But it definitely at face value is janky. We've got some gear and a really cool unit, or a really cool champion unit here. I will just talk about the two pieces of the combo in sync here. So we've got Vanguard Armory, which is 7 energy gear, 1 order power. That says exhaust, play 3 1 might recruit unit tokens. You may play them to different locations. So I think the second biggest gear that we've seen besides Dazzling Aurora so far. And notably, it is 7 and not 9 like Dazzling Aurora, because Jace, Man of Progress, is a 4 energy, no power blue unit that it has 4 might that says when you play me, you may kill a friendly gear. If you do, you may play a gear with energy cost no more than 7 from hand this turn. Ignoring its energy cost, you must still pay its power cost. So the I'll call it the Twitter combo is turn 1 plunder Poro, turn 2 conquer, get a treasure, play J, sack the treasure, get a Vanguard Armory in play, profit, etc., etc.
Yep.
A lot of people are talking about this right now.
And then let's be crystal clear on this. This does require a very specific, like 3 card in hand,
specific set of tools.
A very specific set of tools and skills to hunt down your opponent and summon 3 tokens.
It doesn't need the Poro though, because it could be
it could be a seal. It could be some other some other turn 1 gear that you've got that you're willing to just like throw away. But like
yellow or blue gear.
This is from hand, so you do need the Vanguard Armory in hand, right? And you need the Jace in hand. So like this is your like Christmas land, but also Jace's effect is just like quite good. I think if you're gonna play the Vanguard Armories anyway, or like you're gonna consider this as part of like what you want to play, or even say you have Hook in the deck as well, then you can still just like have Gold Gen in the deck, have Jace, and have these like more expensive gears that you're just going to be able to like get into play when you play Jace. So I think like regardless of this like high roll combo that very likely wins the game if there's not gear disruption that's like immediately going to answer the Armory just like churning out 3 recruits every single turn from turn 2, then I think like even without that combo happening, I think there's a lot of really strong things that Jace can do, and we'll continue to see maybe more things get added that Jace can continue to work with. But feels like very good start for blue-yellow combos like Victor and Renata, and then like to an extension of that Lux, but realistically these synergize not at all with Lux's ability, so I think like more Victor and Renata.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to go just quickly back to the other card on the slide that I did not talk about. This is Renata, because you mentioned, Renata is the new blue-yellow legend here. Her epic, or no, sorry, this is this her epic, or this is the showcase version? Yeah,
this is the altar. Yep,
this is the altar. But is this the rare version or the epic version? It doesn't matter. It's the yellow Renata, 4 energy, 1 order power for 4 might. Simply says your tokens enter ready. So, maybe we are playing a Renata token list. I will point out, because I've been on top of a lot of the prices and price changes of cards over the last couple of weeks. Weird one that went up by almost doubled in price. Yellow Darius. That's a token.
Yeah.
That's a token. Now it went from like $150 to $3. So don't get too excited about your Yellow Darius stonks making you a fortune. But token strategies and token decks are usually very popular and sometimes good enough in
they got a lot of wins.
Constructed play.
They got a lot of wins in this set so far. There's just a lot of good token support. We're not getting to all of it here, but just you go check out the page with all the spoilers. I think there'll be even more. There are even more coming, and we'll see if there's like even more token support. But there's been some token support already, and you see it there with the Industrialist entering, having tokens enter ready, which is definitely something that can be really strong with like Vanguard Captain that was already in yellow and summoning extra tokens. Being able to move those around, I think, is very, very good. But yeah, but go ahead.
I looked. It is the rare Renata.
Oh, okay, cool. For some reason, I thought that, and then I got thrown about because it was the alt art, and I saw the showcase gem, which looks a lot like the epic. Anyway, we've got some cool Rek'Sai cards here. Cass, I know you're very excited about Rek'Sai, but let's talk about the rare yellow Rek'Sai, the Swarm Queen. 5 energy, 1 order power for 5 might. Says when I attack, you may reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play 1 and then recycle the rest. If the played card is a unit, you may play it here. Which when I first read that, I'm like, yeah, duh. Except when you realize that this is an attack trigger.
Yep.
And you would not normally be able to play it at the same location attacking, but you sure can here, which is awesome.
Yeah, this is really interesting too because it opens up spots where you either like are going in like YOLO, you don't have enough might, and you just need to find something off the top to win the game, which is spicy and cool, or just creating more like overwhelming kind of spots where you can put even more there, or just from the other side of it is spells, or also there's ways to potentially manipulate the top of your deck. And in doing so, you could create opportunities to get the exact card that you need to push the might over the top. And it's cool that it is just like an extension of the Void Burrower ability, the Rek'Sai Legend, which is like when you conquer, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck, play 1, and then recycle the rest. So this is like letting you do the conquer ability, but on your attack. And then if you win that, you then do the conquer ability. So then you're playing another card off the top of your deck, which is like really, really cool that Rek'Sai has this like all play off the top of the deck stuff. I think I may have mentioned multiple times on this podcast and in content that I really like playing from zones that aren't my hand, and this lets me do that. So I think I'm pretty excited about Rek'Sai. So
what I also adore, it's not on the screen right now, but I just want to talk about it. Oh, there it is Undertitan. Undertitan works so well with that combo. It also works well with Void Rush. If you're listening and you don't know what Undertitan is, it is a 6 energy, 1 yellow power, 5 might unit, but it says when you play me, give your other units +2 might this turn. So it's kind of like a reverse Watcher. Not as strong, obviously, but it has this other line of text, which is outstanding. As I'm revealed from your deck, add 2 energy. So if you are revealing either with the Rek'Sai Legend, with the Rek'Sai Champion unit, whatever, you reveal this, well, you also just get a free 2 energy to use towards the costs of, this, or potentially even whatever else was revealed if that's spicier. So I adore Undertitan.
Yeah. I was just thinking like when I initially saw Rek'Sai, I'm thinking, oh, aggro deck, you go all out. You're effectively like pseudo drawing cards. It reminds me of Lurk from Legends of Runeterra, which was like hyper aggro. But actually, this is going to be an extremely energy hungry deck. And Undertitan plays right into that, which is awesome. I'm curious how the Rek'Sai deck is actually going to end up being built, because it's not just, play a bunch of cheap stuff. I mean, maybe a version of it will be, but it seems like it wants to have a lot of energy generation. But it also wants cards like the newly revealed Void Hatchling, which is a red, an Angie unit here. 2 energy, no power. 2 might. Says if you would reveal cards from your deck, look at the top card first. You may recycle it, then reveal those cards. So just even more selection, especially if you want to reveal specific cards like Undertitan or other cards that we haven't even seen yet that potentially get a benefit from being revealed, or that you see from other zones, or Void Hatchling can technically be played in purple, and you can set up Nocturnes even more. Charmer, I know this is exactly what you're thinking.
Yes. No notes.
I love it. I will also note that Nocturne has gone up quite precipitously in price over the past week as well. So people speculating on Nocturne and other cards with the revealed stuff.
Yeah, but as much as I was the Leona guy on this set, I think very likely that I become the Rek'Sai guy next set, as far as just like playing a bunch of Rek'Sai. We'll see. It might be that. I might just stay in my green yellow colors and play Azir, but we'll figure it out from there. But there's some more amazing reveals. A lot of spells that were a little crazy on the power cost. A lot of the costs overall here, Blev. And they do have some of my favorite lines of text. Draw cards on them. So
yeah, this is this one. I saw this one in the airport on the way back, and it was one of the first Chinese spoilers for like that batch of spoilers. And I'm like, oh, well, this is just a fake. Someone just made this card. And like, oh, haha, we're going to put Ancestral Recall in Riftbound. Well, it's real. It's called Premonition. It's 2 energy, 3 mind power. So that's 3 blue power for a reaction. It simply says draw 3. Yeah. Seal stonks literally at an all-time high right now. And the thing that was pointed out to me that I did not realize when we were originally talking about the new legends and Ornn specifically is that you can just tap Ornn to play a seal for free. You just get to do that from the very beginning of the game. You just get to play it for free. And the downside of playing seals normally is that you are obviously discarding a card from your hand, aka playing the seal, and you're recycling a rune. Well, Ornn gets to mitigate the second part there. You just get to tap your legend there to play a rune for free. And with the card revealed, you can just make up that card disadvantage very quickly by drawing 3 cards, and it's at reaction speed, which is not something to scoff at. Yeah, that's that one. That one's going to be expensive. It may end up being one of those cards that's like it's just awkwardly costed enough, or it doesn't fit properly in the meta, or the blue decks in the format don't want to be spending their time and resources drawing cards. But also, it could be one of the more broken cards ever made. It's one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ornn is a great call out as someone who can like very likely utilize this. I think gold is the other way that we'll see this get used. If if Renata ends up having multiple ways to generate the gold and you're not having a lot of other ways that you need to use it, this being like a hand refill is definitely reasonable. Like, I think people are going to look at that 3 power cost and be like, that's crazy. And I do too. Like, if you play this for 2 and 3 power, you're probably losing the game. But like the idea behind Premonition is that you have set up a way that you're not paying 3 power to draw the 3 cards. And that is where that card gets crazy. And if that's not easy to set up, then the card's not playable for now. But based on what we've seen so far, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be pretty playable. It's gonna be pretty doable to make this work.
Yeah,
I really like it. I want to play a bunch of seals with Ornn. I know that we're going to get to it on a future slide, but the Mind Champion unit version of Ornn that just gets additional might for every friendly gear screams like, just play all the seals. And again, the downside of seals is like, well, what if you draw them and then you don't draw what you need? Well, then you play Premonition, right? Like that's the trade-off, I think, when you're playing Ornn. So kind of curious to see where the deck goes, but he's caught my attention. I didn't think that you would be able to maybe make me consider not playing Ahri in Calm and Mind just because she's my baby, but Ornn, I think, is going to allow for a different enough play style that it might be warranted depending on what else we get this set.
Yeah, definitely seems very strong to me at the very least. But next card here, it has Ornn on it, though. I think this actually might be, this almost seems like an Ezreal signature spell at this point, but it is Bellows Breath, 1 energy, 1 blue power. It's at action speed. It has repeat for 1 and a blue. It says deal 1 damage to up to 3 units at the same location. So this immediately, even without paying the repeat, procs the Ezreal legend. Is a way to deal with those pesky recruits. If that ends up being an actual strategy, you can deal with all 3 of the recruits from that gear with 1 single card. But also just seems, I mean, this doesn't seem like it's the most overtly powerful card, but it does seem quite versatile. This is, I think, is an auto include with Ezreal.
I mean, the big thing to look at with Bellows Breath, right, is like we saw this other like token support coming through, and this is like the response. This is like, hey, we're making tokens good, but here's like the best token answer ever in blue. So like it's like this self-balancing to the token boost that they've been giving in the set so far. Having repeat is cool as well. Same location, that can be a base. Doesn't have to be a battlefield, right?
True.
So you can hit backline with this, which is nice. I doubt that because it's 1 damage, I don't know that like Ravenbloom or Ravenborn Tome or anything like that is necessarily going to matter, because I don't think 2 is going to quite get you there on a lot of things, but it's still really cool. I think a lot of the really strong backline stuff's at 3, but I guess you could repeat and hit the same targets and try and blast through.
I was just about to say, even if it doesn't count as 2 separate instances, the repeat plus Ravenborn, that gets you to 3. But if it's 2 separate instances and it goes from like 2 to 4, then that starts to suddenly be a hell of a card with the tome.
Yeah, I mean, this is action speed falling star as far as the amount of damage it does, but it's not as like it's spread out, right? And so you can't concentrate it on a single target. It's 6 damage for 2 energy, 2 power.
2.
It's the same amount, and it's at action speed, but not nearly as flexible of a card as Falling Star as far as like what it is going to be able to kill. I think it's good. It's definitely a tech. This is like gonna be in decks again, probably a sideboard card, but it's good for sure.
Yeah. And last card on this slide is a bit of a random one, but one that I think I have mixed feelings on this, because I think if this card is good, people are not going to enjoy it being good, but it's called Downwell. It is 8 energy, 2 purple power. And it says return all units and all gear to their owner's hands.
Yeah.
I think if I had to guess, this card is likely a multiplayer card.
I mean, yes. There's probably a world where this could be good somewhere else. I'm thinking if you have a when I'm returned to my hand trigger thing on the board, and then you have hidden cards, you could respond to that trigger by revealing the hidden cards, I believe, and then they would stay on the board. Which is an interesting combo. Which again, look, correct me if I'm wrong here on this one, comments, because this is that's a very niche edge case one that I believe works, but you can I may be wrong. I don't know
if there needs to be a combat or not, because I know this was part of the English release errata, where there's like sometimes a window where you don't actually have units at a battlefield, but you still technically have control, so you can then...
It's Death Knell that you can repeat. That's when you can reveal the hidden cards after you've lost the unit. You can respond to the Death Knell trigger before you've lost control. It's how you can Zonya's after your Tasty dies, so that you don't revive the Tasty and keep the Zonyas around and let the Tasty trigger go through. So I think it might be something similar if there's like a bounce effect. For instance, like you have a treasure trove on board, and it has a when I leave trigger, then you might be able to respond to it with your hidden reveals and do some shenanigans like that. Again, I don't know. Don't at me. We'll figure it out as these cards start to come out and see if that actually works. But I think that might work. This is just some cool ideas with Downwell. The funny thing is, it's the art from Sunk Cost. The flavor text has Sunk Cost, which was a very notorious, unplayable Legends of Runeterra card that people put into like a tournament winning list because it was funny. So I think it's really great to see that art come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll quickly run through the pair of Ornns we got, of course, so you can see our Ornn legend who gives us power for gear, but then we have green Ornn. We do have green Ornn here, 5 energy, a green power here for 5 might. It says when you play me or when I hold, look at the top 4 cards of your main deck, you may reveal a gear from among them and draw it, then recycle the rest. And then blue Ornn is the rare one, obviously 6 energy, no power cost for 4 might, though that is a bit of a bait here. Has deflect 2, has weapon master, which when you play me, you can equip one of your equipment with equip cost 1 power or less, even if it's already attached. And Ornn has +1 might for each friendly gear.
Yeah.
Not just gear attached to him, just friendly gear. So all of your seals are now pumping up your Ornn. I mean, this is like, you know, your Draven level, your potentially maybe not Mundo level, but
just food for thought. You need 2 gear for Ornn to be kind of on rate.
Yeah, 6 for 6.
I would say 6 for 6 with the deflect 2 and weapon master. You know, maybe it only needs 1 gear to be kind of on rate because the weapon master and deflect 2 being value. Yeah. So like you would expect 6 and a power would be for 6 might. So, but let's say let's just say for argument's sake 2 gear to be on rate. That doesn't seem that hard, especially because it's weapon master. So you want to be playing some amount of equips, which are gear, or else you're just wasting this weapon master. So there's already 1, and then if you have like 1 seal in play, he's on rate. And then from there, you can get this to be very big and actually be a really major part of the strategy. So this becomes very interesting for picking your chosen champion, because I think Ornn Blacksmith also has a lot of potential. We talked about wanting to play seals, and if you want to play seals, card draw is important. This specifically only draws gear, but you might want to draw that seal even at this point in the game, get it out of the deck, get it onto the board. There's just a lot of cool ideas, I guess, with which one of these you'd actually play, where Forge God is a big payoff bomb for your deck to help you win the game with something that's really tough to remove because of the deflect 2, or Blacksmith kind of helps you continue to set up the engine. So kind of figure, which one do you want? Do you play some of these main deck? Maybe you play main deck Forge Gods, and then you Blacksmith in the champ zone to help set up a bunch of gear, and then you draw into Forge Gods, and you just play a bunch of these in a row. You get a bunch of Forge Gods on the board. Could be good. I don't know. A lot of cool ideas.
I also really like the idea of using the gear for kind of a double dip. So I know that obviously everyone's kind of brewing around Spellsonger, but if there was a champion to play that on, I think that this one is right up there, because even with like a single seal and then Spellsonger, like it's going to give an additional +4 because it's going to count the gear twice, essentially. But obviously, if you're running Steric's Gauge or any of the other ones that have been revealed, the Doran's Shield, etc., it's just going to further help that might when you're playing it as a champion unit.
4 Charmer? Is that how that works? +4 deflect? I think that is.
I believe so. It should be additive. So.
Yeah, for deflect, it should be. Yeah. Huh. That sounds kind of toxic.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know people have been brewing, but I think simplicity is sometimes the best, and Spellsonger just feels perfect for this.
Yeah. All right, that's a cool idea. I mean, I'll try that.
I do think, like you said, I'd like having some number of both of these in your deck, and it may just be matchup dependent. Like, do you need the Baby Mundo for your hold to win the game? Or are you churning through? Are there key pieces of gear that you need? Do you just need card velocity? Do you need, more stuff in hand to play? Like, I feel like there's still some like key pieces of gear that we haven't seen yet for Ornn, because it seems like, yeah, there's a bunch of equipment. We've got seals from the previous set, but I'm like, is there like a key, like 3, maybe 4 cost gear that like is Ornn's thing to do? Have we seen Ornn's signature spell yet, or signature card? I don't think we have. I don't remember seeing it, at least.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of reveals, so I just want to.
There's been a lot. At first, I thought that the Forge
for this episode.
No,
we have not seen
his.
we haven't seen Ornn's.
Okay, so maybe this is, again, we have no idea what it actually is. If it is a gear, this is completely accidental that I'm alluding to it, but like maybe Ornn's signature card is a gear that is like something that you would definitely want every game. All of a sudden, Blacksmith seems quite good.
I mean, I think that you still run the blacksmiths, and then Forge God is probably your chosen champion as like a finisher of sorts. I do also just want to point out, obviously gold is coming, and that is a gear. So that counts towards the +1 might for Ornn Forge God. And
it does.
If you're not familiar, there's this fun card called Countech Cask that every time you play a spell on your opponent's turn, you can exhaust it and get a free gold. So it's already a gear by itself, which counts towards Ornn. And then if you're, playing calm and, intellect, mind, if you're playing calm and mind, like, let's be honest, you're going to be playing some spells on your opponent's turn. You're just going to turn that into free gold.
Yep. Like
and
Premonition.
That seems really good.
Yeah. It all seems very good, which is why I put Ornn as my only S tier on my definitely true and undeniable and unrebuttable tier list. So at me and at Turnhamside on Twitter and argue about it, because it's right and you're wrong, but feel free to argue about it in the comments of that. But yeah, there's the Chemtech Cask. But one thing that I don't want to argue about is our mailbag section, which is, of course, our favorite section of the show. So let's jump on in, do a couple mailbags. Here we go. We've got from Michelle Piccolini, 1669. I agree with Charmer on 12 legends per set not being too many. Legends strongly shape decks. So if they don't give us enough legends every set, we'll have fewer options for deck building. I also tend to agree with that. Cass, what do you think?
I'll do it again. No, I think I think Charmer sold me on the episode, to be honest. I was like a little worried about what the pool of legends is going to look like when we get to before the first rotation, right? Where it's like 10 sets, where like 120 legends or whatever, and then we're finally start rotating or whatever it's supposed to be. But like, so what? Like that'll like, I think meta diversity is going to be crazy in this game because of that. I think like prepping for tournaments is going to be really hard as a competitive player, but like also, I don't know, pick a like the color combo matchups that you need to worry about. Pick your legend, find something cool. I think there'll be a lot of creativity when it comes to like actually finding a niche or top deck. There'll be the really popular ones that everyone knows is good, but I think there's a lot of room for people to find some really exciting like secret OP stuff for tournaments, and I think that's pretty neat with that many legends existing, because it does warp how the game is played, even if you figure out shells in certain colors that are really busted. So I think it's cool. I'm down for it.
Charmer, do you agree with Charmer?
No, there's no way.
Not usually, but I will say this. I appreciate having a mailbag question that's not a question. It's just them saying, hey, that one guy, he's pretty smart. So feel free to do that more. If you're watching this right now and you just want to blanket agree with me, I'll take it.
Yep. I like it. Yeah, I'm fine seeing more legends, because not everyone needs to be a tier 1 competitive deck. We've got 2v2, we've got FFA, we've got all sorts of other stuff there. But I think we have just about run out of time. So if you want to see your mailbag question on the show, leave a comment here on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment there too. We have figured out that we can that those exist. Comments there exist, and at some point in time, we may figure out how to actually look at them. That may take many, many months, but at the very least, we know
how to do it now. It's okay.
And it was shown to us. We were like, no, that you can't leave comments on Spotify. I've been podcasting for many years. There's no comments on Spotify. And they came up and they're like, yeah, there's comments on Spotify. I'm like, I'm sorry.
And I'll do it again.
Just like we will do the winning point again, but not this week. That is going to be it for this week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on whatever other place you are listening or watching this. Just hit subscribe, even if it's not an option. Just do it. It helps us do cool stuff like go to SCGCon Vegas and Houston and all other sorts of stuff. But that is going to be it for episode number 26 of The Winning Point. For Casanova, for Charmer, for everyone on the Turn 'em Sideways crew, I've been Blevins. We'll see you on the next one.